Hey everybody, Andy Kvernen here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. Hey, I hope you're having a great time on the Bible reading plan. If you're not on it, let me encourage you to go to our website and sign up. And we're in Luke 17 here today. And it reminds me, and I'll share the passage in a minute, of an episode where my kids were back in North Dakota with Christy, my wife, recently. And they were talking to some of their old friends from their old stomping grounds. And one of the kids that they talked to happened to be one of the kids that I had the privilege of coaching when the boys were a lot younger in football. And he was one of their teammates, and he was a good player. And I remember just really liking the kid and enjoying being his coach for those years. And as they were talking to this guy, he mentioned my name. He just mentioned that he remembered me as his coach and that he appreciated that opportunity. And the boys then passed that along to me, and that meant a lot to me. Here, a kid wasn't just there as a consumer, wasn't just there to receive from whatever adult was willing to give, but he actually remembered the relationship. And that was a big deal. In the Gospels, in Luke chapter 17, Jesus does an important work for 10 lepers. And I want to read the account to you, and I think you'll see the correlation here. Luke 17, verse 11 and following, it says, "Now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. And they stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, 'Jesus, Master, have pity on us.'" Of course, folks in the first century who had leprosy had very strict instructions, in Palestine anyway, to keep their distance. They were seen as unclean according to Old Testament law. And so they had to keep their distance from everybody else so that they wouldn't make everybody else unclean. And so that's why they're shouting from a distance here. And when Jesus saw them, he said, verse 14, "Go show yourselves to the priests." Go to the priests and show yourselves. And as they went, they were cleansed. Jesus healed these lepers of their disease. Now, verse 15 says this. It says, "One of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him." 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 were willing to come back to Jesus and say thank you for the healing. Rather than go to the priests and regain their status in society immediately, one of them was willing to say, no, I need to go back to the source of my good fortune here. I need to go back to Jesus and tell him thanks. The other 9 went straight ahead, presumably. Now, it's one thing for that one to do that, but here's what's even more surprising. In verse 15, actually 16, it says, "He threw himself at Jesus' feet and he thanked him, and he was a Samaritan." The one person in that group of 10 who presumably wouldn't have cared about the Messiah is the one who got it, the one who realized the relationship that was there. Jesus wasn't there just doing an act for them devoid of relationship. Jesus was demonstrating something about himself, and the Samaritan is the one who got it. Verse 17, Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" And then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." Jesus commends this man, this Samaritan man who came back to him to thank him for what? For his faith. This man understood the source from whom his blessings flowed, right? This man understood that Jesus, the relationship with Jesus, was what was critical. The others just went on and they got what they wanted and they were fine. Friends, let me ask you this morning, do you remember who the source of your blessing is? Or are you just looking to be blessed by someone and to get whatever you can and move on? These other 9 were, but the Samaritan had true faith. I appreciated this young man who remembered our relationship. Of course, I didn't act as Jesus acted towards these lepers to him, and yet I appreciated that he remembered. And friends, our God wants relationship with us. He does things that bless us, and he does it so that we'll recognize his provision for us. And friends, ultimately, on this day, 2 days after Easter, we remember the ultimate blessing that God has given us. He sent his son Jesus to die for our sin, to rise again in order to forgive us, in order to bring us into a relationship with him. Let's not forget the giver today, friends. Let's bless him and let's say thanks. God bless you, friends. Have a great day. And Lord willing, we'll see you again soon on another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional.